This morning, my wife asked me if I thought we were about to experience World War III. Now, she asked this. I'm not sure if she asked it out of her own concern, but she had just spent the weekend with her mother and father, and her mother is of the persuasion that there is a coming Armageddon, tribulation, from a religious, one of the Christian eschatological perspectives that predict what the end of the world will be like. And so this is common for her mother to assign meaning to world events. This thing happens, which means this is how the Bible says is what's going to happen next, and this thing happens, and that's predicted by the Book of Revelation, and then this thing happened, and that means this, and so it's this ongoing interpretation attempt to interpret current events, according to what many Christians believe is a book that prophesies the end of our current age. Now, I'm not in that camp. I believe the Book of Revelation is a prophetic book, but I believe it prophesied something different than that interpretation. I'm not going to go into those details. Let's just say it accurately prophesied something that we can look at and see that, oh yes, this is what it prophesied, and those things have come to pass. Most of those things, many of those. Anyway, okay. So those of you who are Christians watching this understand that. Those of you who are not Christians watching this might have some inkling as to what I'm talking about. However, I want to talk about this now because last week I only recorded a couple episodes, and one of the episodes I was doing a trip down memory lane. Oh, by the way, hello everyone. Welcome to Sovereign Artsakh. I'm Michael, the non-Armenian, talking about Armenia and the assassin of Hitler's hero. Please like this channel, like this video, and subscribe to this channel, and pass this video along. Now, are we going to enter World War III? Before I talk about that, when I was last week going down memory lane about the project that I'm working on, it's an exciting journey that I've been on these past 3.5 years. And so that video is projecting good things in the future. It's like, I look forward, based on what I've gone through and the incredible things that have happened in my life as I've pursued this project. I only see good things ahead, specifically for me, specifically for this project, specifically for anybody who cares about the Armenian genocide, which means everyone in the world eventually. I believe everyone in the world, the vast majority of the globe, will understand the accurate history once it's told, and how it applies to all of us. And I get to be a part of that process. That's what I continue to project. That's what I believe in my heart is going to happen. It remains to be seen. I can't predict the future past. I believe the sun rotates and the earth rotates, and I will see the sun tomorrow, so I can predict that accurately. But I see signs in my life and in this project that point forward to good things happening. And so when I watched that video back, the one that I made last week, and contrasted it to what's going on in the world right now, Azerbaijan has moved into Armenian territory, right? Like, people watching this channel probably expect me to be on top of those things, to report on those things. And so when I watched that video, I'm like, well, I should probably do an update about what's going on in the world besides what's going on in my world. And so, yes, Azerbaijan invading Armenian territory, and this is Armenia proper, not Artsakh. But then look at what's happening between Israel and Palestine. There's all-out war happening right there. And that's probably what set off my mother-in-law. Anytime something happens associated with Israel, all of that prophecy chatter, it's like, oh, now it's happening. This is what's happening, and Israel's being attacked as was prophesied, blah, blah, blah. And okay, now let me rewind a little bit. I'm going to read this article here, but not only is Israel at war with Palestine right now, but Russia is moving in on Ukraine. So that border is militarizing. What else? Israel, the Ukraine. China. In fact, let me just show you. If we're going into World War III, my first response to my wife when she asked, do you think we're going into World War III or we're about to have World War III? My first response to her was, we're already at war. We've been at war. War has many, many features to it. And when your country is attacked, that is war. And when the media doesn't call it war, nobody thinks it's war. When the media ignores it, or when the media is actually owned by the enemy, right? If our media is infiltrated by the enemy, the media is not going to tell you we're at war. Okay, so when she asked me, are we going to war? I said, we're already at war. And she says, well, I mean like troops on the ground, basically. And so then I showed her this video. Now, this is from American thought leaders, a lot of intellectuals on this YouTube channel. And this is a particular guy, Gordon Chang. He's an expert on China. Now, if there's going to be another world war, it's going to be with China, right? That's the biggest conflict, the biggest threat to global harmony. Arguably, their mishandling of the coronavirus could be seen as a global attack. They've certainly weaponized the process afterwards and are taking advantage of the global economy shutting down, right? Those are, and if you watch this video, this one's a short one. These interviews are usually over an hour long, but this is only an 8-minute video. I'll put the link in the description below, but this is specifically talking boots on the ground. Gordon Chang, the title of the video is A Potential Kinetic War with Communist China. So, to answer her question, I played this video for her, and typically she won't listen to it. Her parents are victims of communist propaganda. They're American. They're not American-born Chinese, but they lived in America since the 60s, and their primary sources are Chinese language sources, and so that's been infiltrated by the propagandists out of China that don't want to say anything bad about China. Essentially, they think Americans are all just jealous of China's prosperity, and that's the angle they take. That's the conversation I had. They are Christian, yet they defend communist China, thinking that we're all just jealous, whereas they don't understand propaganda warfare. They don't understand that communist regimes control the information. That's part of warfare. We're already at war. But regarding a kinetic war, in other words, boots on the ground kind of war, if it's going to happen, watch this video. This guy talks about where China is already active, has military activity constantly in multiple parts of the world right now. It's a short video. It's 8 minutes. So I'll put the link in the description. So I will go back and read this video, this article here in a minute. But I just want to say that if and when war breaks out where it's undeniable, where even your biased news sources will no longer be able to cover or obfuscate or distract with nonsense about gender identity, or like the United States is so focused on such nonsensical issues that we fight about when we aren't paying attention to actual hostile actors on the world stage that want to destroy us, right? There are enemies that want to destroy the United States, that want to destroy liberty, that want to destroy the freedoms that we allow, that we encourage. There are countries that don't believe in the freedoms that we believe in, and that's the war that's taking place. So I just wanted to do this video to say, even if and when such war breaks out, it doesn't mean it's the end. In fact, it's rather a beginning. Because, for example, in this video that Gordon Chang talks about, he compares what's going on right now to what happened just prior to World War II. That the French and the British kept giving warnings to the Third Reich. They kept giving warnings to the Third Reich and not following up on their ultimatums. And the Third Reich didn't believe that anybody would, declare war when they decided to invade Poland, and they were surprised by it. The documentation shows that the Third Reich were surprised when war was declared based on their aggressive actions. That's the exact same situation, and he talks about it in that video, how we've allowed China to ignore the warnings when China oversteps its bounds, all the way back to Obama and before. All right. But it's not the end, right? Because when World War I broke out, the Christians thought this was Armageddon and this was the tribulation and that Jesus was coming. When World War I broke out. When World War II broke out, the Christians thought this is Armageddon, this is the tribulation, the end is coming. Right? When World War I, World War II, and now when we're facing international conflict again, we're going through the same cycle. And it didn't start with World War I either. It's when great conflicts in the past have occurred, the Christians will look at some of the scriptures and say, this is what this means, this is what this means. I believe it's all a misinterpretation. Anyway, you can comment in the section and I'll respond in there as well. But good things are on the horizon, no matter how dark the horizon looks. Let me just read this article. Azerbaijan invasion into Armenian territory threatens regional security. And I think this is a microcosm of the global situation right now. May 17th. Deputy Foreign Minister of Armenia, Artsakh met with the heads of the diplomatic representations credited in Armenia on May 17th. As Armenian press was informed from the press service of the MFA Armenia, Artsakh presented detailed information on the situation created as a result of the invasion of Azerbaijani armed forces into the sovereign territory of Armenia, Syunik and Garkunik provinces, and the measures taken to solve it. The deputy foreign minister emphasized that the mentioned provocations are the continuation of the aggressive rhetoric against Armenia by the military political leadership of Azerbaijan, which takes place during military drills in that country that were launched without informing in advance and with the violation of the 2011 Vienna document. Artsakh mentioned that such... My screen froze, but I'm still talking. See, I'm still here. All right. Artsakh mentioned that such gross violations of the international law by Azerbaijan create serious challenges for the regional peace and security, and in that context, Armenia expects the relevant reaction of the international community. The Republic of Armenia has the legitimate right to protect its territorial integrity and sovereignty in line with the UN Charter, the Armenian Deputy Foreign Minister said. All right, so here I am. I think that if war breaks out with China, then Azerbaijan's certainly going to attack. So it's not all peace and love and harmony. That's not what I'm saying on this channel. But no matter what happens in the world, there is still good coming. Call me crazy, but sometimes you have to look beyond the circumstances. All right. Subscribe, share, and I will be doing a series of Sogom Tellurian diary entries for the next couple weeks until the big event, June 3rd, which is the 100-year anniversary of the miraculous court verdict. Not guilty.